Hi everyone, I'm Jo Barclay Loggie and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be looking at a really pretty pair of earrings. But before we get to the earrings, in one of my previous tutorials, and I'll pop the link in the description below, I show you how to bezel an 18 by 13 millimeter oval cabochon. So cabochon has got a flat back, no holes, a domed front. This is one of the Lunar Soft cabs. So the link to how to do that using peyote stitch as a bezeling technique is in the description. So if you need to see how to do that, you'll need to follow that video first. And then we are going to be doing these earrings. They're quite regal, they're really pretty. They're using GemDuos seed beads and this beautiful bronze or antique brass connector. It's called a Kipos, K-I-P-O-S, GemDuo ending. And it's one of the Cymbal metal elements from Beadsmith, and it just works so well with these. So this tutorial is going to be how to take that, just the kind of bezeled cabochon, into a pretty earring. Now, just for you to see, I have also made a matching bracelet, and this pattern will become available in my Etsy shop as a PDF. So let me just quickly show you. Whoop. Here is the matching bracelet. So similar design, if I hold this up to the earrings so that you could have a matching set. It would also work really well as a pendant. You don't have to make it into earrings, easily make it into a pendant. And as one of my friends was saying the other day, she would actually just love one of these bezeled oval cabochons, so 18 by 13 millimeters as a ring. So many possibilities, but we're going to get going now.
As with all my YouTube demos, we will start by looking at the materials that we're going to use to make this beautiful pair of earrings. Let me pop just one of them in there in the picture for you so you can see what we're aiming for. We're going to be using the 18 by 13 millimeter cab. So it could be a gemstone that you're using, but as long as your measurements are 18 by 13, you're going to be able to follow the tutorial link in the description to bezel an 18 by 13 millimeter cab. Then I've got two different colors of my GemDuos here. I've got these ones, which are a beautiful kind of yellowy pink. They've got a real vintage feel to them, a citrine pink. And then I've got a completely different one, and that's the one you can see up here. And that is called Chalk Red Terracotta. It doesn't look red at all. It's a beautiful pink. Then, as I mentioned, we've got our Cymbal metal element from the Beadsmith, which is a Kipos, K-I-P-O-S, and it's a GemDuo ending, and this one is an antique brass or a bronzy color. And I've got two colors of size 11 seed beads. The pinky ones that I'm using are matte silver lined light blush, and the bronzy colored ones are actually Duracoat galvanized pewter. I've got an earring finding. I've got a beading needle. I tend to use a 10 most of the time, especially as I'm not using any 15s, and some thread. And this time I'm using the Wildfire in the 0.006 inch and in the green. So if you haven't already watched the video on how to do a peyote bezel around a 18 by 13 millimeter cab, you need to have a look at that first, because I'm not going to go through that one again. And you'll find that link in the description. You're going to pass your thread. When you finish bezeling, you're going to finish on the underneath side of your cab, and you're going to move through your beads till your thread is exiting one row below your final row of 11s. So on the very top of my cab, I've got 15s. Then I've got a row of 11s, and underneath that another row. So I'm going to zoom in quickly just so that you can see exactly where I am. So there's my first row of 11s, and this is my second row. You can see where my thread is exiting. The other thing you need to bear in mind is exactly where the top is.
and we're going to be beading across a gap. So from this 11 where my thread is across to that 11, we're going to bridge that gap in the middle there, and we're going to do that the whole way around. But the very top one is going to be where we add in our, you can't see it, let me bring it in, where we're going to add in our Cymbal metal element. So I very definitely need to have a GemDuo at the top. And at the moment, my thread is slightly off center. So the first one I'm going to pick up is just one of my pink 11s, and I'm going to go straight across the gap to that next 11 there. Pull your thread through, and that one just sits in the center. Now it's time to add in one of the GemDuos. I've just taken the zoom off a little bit. So whenever we add a GemDuo, we're going to pick up one of the pinky colored 11s, and we're going to go through the lower hole. So your GemDuos have definitely got a back and a front because these are backlit. So the back has got like a silver foil on them. Let me just flip that over. It's flat and it's got a silver foil on it, which will help reflect the light through the colored area. So just ensure that you've got your GemDuo the correct way around. You're going to go through the base of it, pick up another little 11, and again I'm going to skip across and I'm going to go through the next one. Now I'm just going to zoom in again so that you can see exactly where my needle is going. So 1 11, 1 GemDuo, and 1 11. My thread is coming out of the 11 over there, and I'm skipping across the gap to the next one. And when you pull your thread through, you just want to make sure that everything is sitting in the right order. Now we're going to do that the whole way around, alternating between just picking up 1 11 and picking up our little sequence of 3, an 11, a GemDuo, and an 11. So for the next gap, I just need one of my 11s, and I come straight across. And as long as you keep your tension tight, you're going to get those GemDuos sitting really neatly, nestled in between the 11s. So I've just done an 11 on its own. Next one is the little trio of beads. So an 11, a GemDuo, an 11, and I'm going to go across to the next one, across that gap. So your GemDuos will not sit snugly side by side. There will be a gap between them. So I'm going to keep going all the way around. You'll have added a total of 10 GemDuos, all of the same color, around the outside of your bezeled cabochon. And don't worry if they're not sitting too perfectly just yet, because as we come round the outside of each of our GemDuos, turning it into pretty little petals, that's going to help stabilize this unwieldy looking longer bead that's jutting out from your gemstone. And to do that, I've just added in my last one, and I've come through the 11 seed bead. So let's go in here. My thread is coming out of the 11 seed bead, and I'm now going to go through the pink seed bead that sits between the two GemDuos. So the one that was an alternate one, you've just got to make sure that your thread doesn't hook around a GemDuo. And I'm going to come up through the first little 11 that sits just to the right of the base of my first GemDuo. Now I'm going to be using these pink ones to come up around the side, and I'm going to pick up 4 of them, and I'm going to pass through the top hole of that first GemDuo. And before I go anywhere else, I'm going to give a little picot top to the tip of my GemDuo with 3 beads, and that will be 1 pink. Let's zoom out again because you can't see the colors. 1 pink, 1 bronze, and 1 pink. And I'm going to pass back through that GemDuo, the top hole. The thread is exiting the left, and I'm coming back through from the right to the left. And it just gives you a little tip on the top of your GemDuo there. We now need to come down the side, and we do exactly the same as we did on the right. We need to pick up 4
of our size 11 seed beads, and we are going to come down through the little 11 that sits to the left of that first GemDuo now. So you've got your first GemDuo fully encased in your seed beads. You're now going to move around your circle, or your oval I should say, I'm passing through the seed bead that sits between the first and the second GemDuos, and I'm passing up through the little seed bead that sits to the right of the second GemDuo. And I'm going to start again. So 4 of my pinks and pass through that top hole of the GemDuo. Give it a little picot edge with the 3 beads, the brass or bronze bead at the tip, and then 4 more of your pinky colored seed beads to pass down the side of the GemDuo and down through the little 11 that sits just to the edge of the GemDuo. I'm going to pop that down again so you can see. So I have now done 2 petals. I'm going to do petal 3, 4 and 5 exactly the same way. When we get to 6, we're going to do something slightly different because we're going to attach in our Cymbal metal element on the 6th one. So if you do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'll come back to you to do number 6 together. Right, I've done the 5 around the side there, and I'm now coming to my 6th one, which is the one that's at the top. If I swing it around, it's important to mention that it might not be your 6th one, it might be your 3rd or your 2nd or your 4th one. What you want is the one GemDuo that is going to be at the very top of your design to attach your Cymbal metal element. So whether it's your 2nd, 3rd or 4th, as long as it's the one that's directly at the top, this is where you attach your Cymbal metal element. So my thread is coming out of the 11 that is just to the right of that GemDuo. So just as I was going to carry on going around forming my petals, I'm ready to go. And I'm also going to pick up 4 of my size 11s, and I'm going to let those drop down. And then the easiest way I have found to get the Cymbal metal element on is I'm holding it in my finger, and I've got the Cymbal metal element just resting there. So before we do that, you've got a hole on the side that goes all the way through to the other side. And actually, if you pop it down on your bead mat and keep everything flat, you'll be able to go straight through. But for me, I like to hold it. So I've got the GemDuo resting against my middle finger, and I pop the Cymbal metal element on the top. And then I take my needle through, so it's gone through the Cymbal metal element, through the GemDuo, and come out the other side of the element. Pull your thread up, and you've got 4 little beads that go up around the outside to the Cymbal metal element. And you need to do exactly the same coming down the other way. So 4, and you're going to pass through the little 11 that sits at the base of that GemDuo. Pull your threads through tight, ensuring that you don't get hitched around any of the other GemDuos. There's my Cymbal metal element on, and I'm ready to continue with forming my little petals around all of these GemDuos. You can see how much more stabilized this right hand side is compared to the left hand side, so it really does work at holding the GemDuos in place. So I'm going to pass through the 11 that sits between the 2 GemDuos and up through the 11 that sits at the base of the GemDuo. Ready to go again. 4 of my pinky colored 11s through the top hole. Then my little picot top with a pink, a bronze, a pink, just the 3 beads, and back through that top hole. and then 4 to come down the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, and pass down through the 11 that sits at the base of that GemDuo. Right, so I'm now going to continue until I have done my edging around each of those GemDuos. I've come all the way around and there are just a couple of things I need to do to finish off. So I've just finished edging around my last GemDuo, and I'm actually going to continue on the pattern of the beads. So I'm coming up that very first GemDuo that I beaded around. And I'm finding a place where I can end off my thread so that it's not too noticeable. So I've come up to the top of my GemDuo and I'm going to do a double half hitch knot. So for those of you who haven't done it before, my needle has passed under the thread bridge that is formed between the beads, the seed beads and the GemDuo. I'm going to form a loop and pass my needle through that loop. That's a half hitch. And to make it a double, you've got to do it twice. So under the thread bridge, form a loop, pass your needle through the loop and pull tight. Now, if you were to just snip your thread off there, chances are you would snip straight through that knot, and a knot can look unsightly. So we're going to just pass straight through the GemDuo, and that way we'll be pulling that knot out of sight, out of harm's way inside the GemDuo. And now you can just use your thread zapper or your scissors, let's go back out, to snip off that thread. So we're nearly there now. We've just got to add in the ear wire or the shepherd's hook and add in our chalk red terracotta GemDuo to the Cymbal metal element. I'm going to add the ear wire first because I need to glue this in and I don't want to get in a sticky mess. So I want this to hang to the front on my ear. So to attach my ear wire, I'm actually going to flip it over to the back. And I am going to open up my ear wire with some flat nose pliers, just by moving that opening to the side. You can't really see that because of the little bead that's at the base of the earrings, but I've opened it sideways. Go on the zoom again. Opened it sideways like a door rather than pulling it apart. You open it to the side. Then you can slide. Oh, I need to open it a bit more. Pop that in. And then close it the same way. So side to side. There we go. And now all that's left to do is to glue in our GemDuo. I'm just going to move those out the way. So for this hypo cement works really well. You might have an epoxy glue that you can use, but this is a jewelry glue and it works really well. And the reason I like it is it dries clear. So if any of the glue was to seep up the sides of the element, you're not going to see it when it dries. It also has a super little precision needle, which means you get the glue exactly where you want it. And mine, I've been using my glue a lot lately. I need to take the glue off the top. So I'm just going to put some glue in there. And I'm going to pop my GemDuo in and just make sure again that it's the right way around. Give it a little tap in. And now I'm going to leave it to dry. Most glues tell you on the back how long to leave it to dry. I tend to leave it overnight and just to be absolutely certain. So there you have absolutely stunning earrings, and remember I will be adding to my Etsy shop this beautiful matching bracelet to go with it. Thanks so much for watching. If you've got any questions, pop them in the comments and I'll get back to you and answer them as best as I can. And if you'd like to subscribe, doesn't cost you anything. just hit that little alarm button, and it means the next time I load something up, you will be the first to know, because you will get a little notification that there's something new to watch. Thank you so much. See you next time. Bye.